Well, what an exciting match we have had here at the Kensington Oval in Barbados. In the end, Australia kind of battering England first with the bat and then with Adam Zampa. And it does leave England, Rory Dollard, in a pretty tricky position now in this group.
Yeah, listen, England were seemingly desperate to come out fighting after they lost their first game to rain against Scotland, eager to show that India and the 50 over World Cup was behind them and they were a new page. I think Josh Butler talked a few times about opening a new page in the book and a new chapter. Well, new chapter's kind of similar to the old chapter. It's a disappointing day for England, and it's kind of worst case scenario because they've lost the game. They've lost to Australia, which is always bad, and their run rate has taken a bit of a pummeling, and there's actually a bit of work to do to take away some pretty awkward questions.
Well, there is. I mean, let's go through the start before the start. They left out Reece Topley again. That was the only change. There was a bit of expectation that he might play, probably before yesterday, when a few of us suspected that he wouldn't.
I guess we figured Reece Topley and Mark Wood might rotate a little bit, and the fact that he didn't play against Scotland maybe felt like it was his turn. A couple of left-handers at the top, maybe, and actually Reece's record is pretty strong with the white ball in both formats for England in recent times, and it looked like he might just be a little bit different. These pitches haven't been red hot quick pitches by any stretch of the imagination. It felt like maybe he would be a good pick. England obviously didn't see anything in Mark Wood or in Chris Jordan to pull them out the team against Scotland on Tuesday night, so they went with the same, but you'd have to say that their judgment on that one looks a little potentially skewed, and not the only thing they got wrong today.
Yeah, I mean, England have never opened with two spinners in T20 international cricket. Never. First over, sweep mode, pretty tidy. Second over, Will Jacks. That's kind of when it really started.
I mean, you have to feel for Will Jacks to some extent. He's bowled 2 overs for England in T20 cricket before today. He didn't, get through a huge weight of work in the IPL, it's fair to say, as a bowler. And he, in the conditions out there at the Kensington Oval in front of us, he was bowling at David Warner and Travis Head. That's imposing at the best of times, to be quite honest. The breeze was flowing against him towards the short boundary. It felt like he was onto a loser. And, as soon as that first ball disappeared over for 6, you thought, geez, it was sort of mass intake of breath, and he just had to get out of the over, and he got out of it for the cost of 22 runs.
Yeah, I mean, that part of the ground, really. The party stand is on the other side, which is over there. The Greenwich and Haynes stand was the actual party stand if you were in the crowd.
That's where the fireworks were.
It was there all night. I mean, at that point, though, when they managed to get rid of them, Jofra bringing out the cutters, and they managed to make the breakthroughs with Rashid there, but Australia just had too good a platform, didn't they?
Yeah, they didn't. Nobody else really killed them in the middle overs, but the boundaries did keep coming. England, they did have a couple of good performers. Jofra did bowl very, very cleverly. I thought his use of changes of pace was actually showed that he spent his time away thinking pretty hard about his game. He did look impressive. But there was a few concerns. Chris Jordan struggled with a little bit. He was looking for the wide Yorkers, and I absolutely understand that. That was trying to hide the boundary almost, like hanging the ball out wide, but he did drop a little too wide. And then, I don't know what you felt, England looked verging on fractious in the field. They looked a little flat-footed. Matthew Mott said last week, just in 10 overs, that he thought there were elements of sloppiness. And I don't think you can say they remedied that today. They looked, they looked a little on their heels. And once or twice, I thought there was a little bit of niggle.
And there was a little bit of, there was. When the ball split, who did it split? Jofra and Johnny.
And Joss actually...
Joss
Butler did go and felt for the first time he's not an interventionist captain. He doesn't like to make a show of himself. He's not Virat Kohli in the middle wanting the camera to be close up tight on his facials all the time. But he sort of made a point of going and have a chance here. Guys, come on. So, I don't know, England, they don't just look like they are themselves at the moment. And we've got 2 matches to watch them, Oman, Namibia. We've seen a few odd things happen at this World Cup so far and a few upsets, but England really need to make sure they're not on the end of one. And the sort of awkward thing they're wrestling with is that they need to make damn sure they don't slip on a banana skin.
Oh, yeah.
While trying to fix their net run rate and win the games quickly. It's a horrible mix.
It is, isn't it? And because Scotland and Australia play last. So they're going to know if Scotland manage to keep on their winning run and that they've got that last match up against Australia, that could really be incredibly nervous watching for England.
It is, and you would think with the players they've got, England shouldn't allow nerves and wariness to make them freeze against Oman and Namibia in Antigua, a place they played lots and lots of cricket. They know it well. But this is a World Cup, and their recent World Cup experience is in India, and it's of getting on a losing run. It's of losing a couple of games they shouldn't have lost potentially or weren't fancied to lose. So England desperately need to throw the shackles off and just, they need to be in a dressing room in a couple of nights' time celebrating with each other and just feeling like the burden's off, because, I don't know, we hear a lot that India's behind them, different format, few new players. It doesn't feel like it's behind them.
It will also, it doesn't take, you can try and put it behind you, but you know, it doesn't take much to bring back memories, does it? And they were in such a bad place and everything just steamrolled all the way through that India tournament. They don't want to let that back in. It's just so easy to say. It's not so easy to do.
It is. And you know, I think England fancied playing Australia. I thought the impression I got was that they thought that's the way to get out of a rut. England versus Australia, puff your chests out, get into the rivalry. You know, they play these guys hundreds of times. They know all about it. And I think they hoped that would kind of unlock something and it unlocked the door to finding themselves. And it hasn't worked out. So the difficulty is that either England don't make the Super 8s, and that's pretty bad news, or they do make the Super 8s and they still haven't beaten a big team. And it kind of, the bad smell hangs around a little bit.
I don't know if that will, if they get that far, I reckon they will feel that they can get on that. They've done that before, right? When you go back and even when you think of 2019, or even in Australia, 2022, they weren't in great positions. They weren't bossing those tournaments. But they've got to get over this first hurdle before they can even go, right, yeah, you know what? We do our best when the pressure's on. Because often they do. But, they've got to get there first.
You can see positives. And an obvious positive is Phil Salt.
Yes.
Needing 10 and over against Cummins, Hazelwood, Stark. I mean, how's your luck chasing 10 and over against those guys? And he started great guns. He's such a confident player right now. England should desperately be seeking to harness that and finding what he's got in his head, because it's working. He is a guy who's leveled up enormously in the last year, and he does look like a match winner. If I was Oman and Namibia, I'd be pretty unhappy about bowling to Phil Salt. They have maybe a little problem in the middle order because it all slowed down and the brakes got slammed pretty hard.
Well, that's what I was going to say about that chase. I mean, with not just Salt, but then with Butler as well. They were going so well in that chase. We were there watching it. It's one of those things that's really, really kind or considerate of Australia to have scored pretty much exactly 200, because after every over it was really easy and we were looking at each other going, up
with the rate.
They're up with the rate, just above the rate, just below the rate. It was really easy to tell. And we were talking, weren't we? And had that feeling of, okay, England have got to go big after Australia's spinners. They've got to have a couple of really big overs to give themselves some breathing space. On comes Adam Zampa. Yeah,
I mean, and you know what? Talking about throwbacks to India, England were knocked out in Ahmedabad by Australia. Who was player of the match? Adam Zampa. Player of the match talking to us at the top table today. Adam Zampa. He's enjoying this rivalry, isn't he? He's got a little bit of the wood over England. Good player. Good player. He knows what he's doing now. He's in great control of his game. And I think, you know, he didn't bowl in the power play, did he? Don't think he did.
No.
England sort of used up spin early and it didn't pay off. He waited his turn, came on with an extra couple of fielders to help him out, and he looked, the game never looked like it was going to get away from his control. He bowled very well, and actually, if Australia are going to go deep and look for that third world title, you think he's got a pretty big job to do in every single match.
He's so good, and he does have so much control over his variations. He doesn't get worried or flustered if he goes for any. He's always got the ability to come back after each ball, and we saw him do that again today. And what it allows is Australia to go, well, we can get 1 or 2 out of Maxwell, it's okay if he goes for a few. It allows them to play those 3 quicks that they did, and that just gives them a really, really strong team all the way down. But who knows? There is a long way to go in Group B, but it's going to leave here in Barbados now. We're going off to different places. And I'm going to, where am I? I'm going to New York. You're going to Antigua. God knows what's going to happen for the rest of this group, but it's going to be very interesting. Keep your eye on net run rates all the way through.
Get your calculators out.
Get your your abacuses, if you like it old school, but keep that out, because I think that's going to play a huge role for England and for Scotland in this group. Who knows? It's going to be very exciting. See you from Barbados. See you somewhere else.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.